narrow. So I want to transfer this into another container that has a wider surface, so I can use it to stir completely, you understand, and stir very very well like it should be stirred. I'll be transferring this to another bowl. So I'll transfer into this bowl, and then I'll continue the reaction from here. So it can give me the freedom of stirring very hard, like I need to stir, okay? Because this small container here, this narrow mouth here, is reducing the velocity and the speed of my spatula, whatever you want to call it, stirrer. Okay, so that's just it. I'm going to send this to here and then continue from here. If you could touch my hand now, it's already feeling sticky in my hand because of the little particles that have dissolved in the solution. Good. There's more freedom of turning now and stirring. Okay, this is what I wanted. So keep stirring like this and keep stirring like this. Now the thing is, when using this diluent and this particular one here, one could also, in the industry, one could also choose not to use exactly a certain pattern or a certain diluent. The most important thing is this, the first one. So these ones are actually added because we want to save cost. So depending on the costs and the effectiveness of the solvents you have. If you have a solvent that is very cheap and very volatile too, you need one that has very high volatility, one that can dry very fast too. Yeah, and if it's cheap and dries fast, you could use that. But if it is not cheap, then you could opt for mixing, varying them, like I'm doing now. You use the one that's most expensive, then you use other solvents as diluents to bring it up. That way you save yourself costs, because this particular solvent here is very very expensive. So we just have 100 ml of it, then we use these ones to augment. We use D and we use E to augment. But right now it has not even got to the point where I have to add any of those ones. I have to use this one first to get a complete solution of this. As you can see, it's just going gradually. It hasn't really gotten to the point where I have to add any of those ones. I'll start adding them when this one is completely dissolved and the solution begins to gel and thicken very very hard, which you are going to see here as we progress. Like I told you, this reaction is usually 4 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours reaction. I just have to break the videos for you so you can save yourself the whole time. Just understand the process. And if you need further details and in-depth detail on how these things are made, you can also reach me on the email there or contact the phone number you see on this video, and I'll give you every information you need about how to produce your own adhesive, contact adhesive, white glue, any kind of adhesive. This is a contact cement, all-purpose contact cement adhesive. Like I said, you could get these in your local shops for some dollars, and this video is actually meant for industrial use. Those ones who want to go into this production in large scale to make profits. So you don't come and tell me this is expensive, seriously. So if you are planning to just make it for use, well, I don't know how much you'll be willing. I don't know how big your industry is. Like I said before, people that use it mostly are the shoemakers, shoe manufacturing company, the big upholstery company. They also use it to produce foam like mattress. We call it foam in my place. I don't know what you call it in your place. We call it, some people call it mattress too. So this particular adhesive is also used in production of mattress. So in our industry, we supply to these people. These are people we supply to: the big shoe manufacturing companies, mattress manufacturing companies, and upholstery companies. They also use it in making and gluing cars, car parts. Some car parts also use this. And many other adhesives that we formulate. So at this point, you can see how viscous this is. We have to start adding the diamonds, like I said. If you are using a locally fabricated reactor, at this point the sound will change because the viscosity will be too high. It will create a drag, a very big, is it drag or torque, what you call it in engineering, to create a torque or a drag on the machine. No, just about that amount of that, and stay. Stir it till you have a uniform or a homogeneous mixture. This solvent is basically just to thin out the very viscous adhesive that's produced already. Stir gradually until you achieve a very uniform, homogeneous mixture. Before you add the final diluent. So at this point, you just keep adding your diluents to produce the viscosity of the adhesive. This is a very viscous adhesive now, and if you use it on any material, it will stick to it. Now, making it a little lighter is just to increase the flow and allow it to spread very evenly on any surface without interaction. You can see how thick it is, and in the machine. This is why I told you that this reaction goes up to more than 4 hours, 5 hours. This reaction will have to continue until you get a final product. Add more diluent to it. This state. these diluents are not to be added once. You add them gradually. When you add, you stir until you have a homogeneous mixture. You add more diluents, you stir until you have a homogeneous mixture. You add more until the final one. Now, you can see how this thing looks. If you look at it critically, you will see that there are lots of seeds, gradual seeds, undissolved rubber. So you can see this rubber here. Now, these things comes from inconsistent stirring on my own part. Of course, I just use hand to stir this thing. It's not something that dissolves very easily, so it takes time. But if you're using your machine, or you have chipped the rubber into smaller pieces, now you have the reaction on time, and everything will be dissolved the way it should. So I hope you like this video. Give us thumbs ups, and if you want to learn more on how to produce any of these products, like I said, industrial methods, industrial way, these things, the next thing is, if I had used my machine like I normally do, the next thing should be to package this and then sell in the market. So this is what you buy, this is what you use as adhesive. You can test it. You can just dip your hand, test it, wait for the solvent to dry a little. The old part you see in my finger is the one I tested before. If you wait for it to dry a little, you can blow in your palms, or just wait for your palm to dry a little, so the solvent to just go off, and then try sticking the hand together. You see the darkness. That way you see how strong your glue is. Okay, so this is how it is done. The last usually this is the last diluent you add. That is because this diluent makes the whole product dries fast. Now, if you add this earlier on, you're going to have less yield, because this is a very volatile substance, and as it's drying off, it just leaves only the solids. It's a kind of solvent too, so if it dries off, it leaves the sticky solid. Now let's check my palm and see. It has dried a little, so you can see how sticky it is. See, it's holding my hand really tight. That's how you check how tacky it is. See that? The same way, if I'd placed it on leather now, wait for it to dry very well, you can only tear the leather. It won't allow the leather to separate once it had adhere. Okay, so you can also get the leather and use to test your production. So we've come to the end of this. See you next time when we'll show you how to produce other products from our lab here at home. So subscribe to this YouTube channel, share with your friends. We'll be showing you lots of things you never knew are possible with very simple materials around you. Thank you.